What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm working on my Honda Grom and I'm fixing the biggest eyesore, which is this banged up, beat up Zoom exhaust. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll know that my fiance and I just bought these bikes to tool around on. I got a 2018 Honda Grom. She's got the 2019 Kawasaki Z125. And I love these things. They're so much fun. But for whatever reason, the previous owner of this bike must have, I don't know if the muffler just fell off and he ran it over or what. But I'm not a fan of the look of the exhaust. The rest of the bike is super clean and I think it deserves a good looking exhaust, something better than this eyesore. Although it does sound really good. This is a Zoom loop exhaust. It sounds great in my opinion. I love it, but it's just starting to rust out and that muffler is just beat up. So I went on Amazon and found this $99 full exhaust. It's a Ransoto exhaust. I have no affiliation with this company, but I figured for $100, why not give it a shot? These bikes are pretty cheap and I don't want to spend a ton of money on it. So this is $100. I'm going to walk you through the installation, give you some sound clips, and give you my honest opinion on whether or not this exhaust is worth the price. Now, before I install this $99 Amazon exhaust, I want to give you some sound clip comparisons. So I've got my Zoom loop exhaust here, and I also have my buddy's Yoshimura loop exhaust. So I'm going to put all three together, that way you can kind of hear the differences and make your own decisions. And now that you've heard all three exhausts compared against each other, we're going to go back in time and I'm going to show you guys how to install this Ransoto exhaust onto the Grom. If you've turned a wrench before, you'll be able to do this. It's super simple. I'm assuming most of you are probably going to go from a stock exhaust, but the procedure is going to be basically the same. But let's just take a look at what was in the box. We've got our stainless steel mid pipe here. This is just a straight through pipe, unlike the looped pipe we have on this and the Yoshimura exhaust. And then we've got the carbon fiber muffler, and I can already tell you that this is not real carbon fiber. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It looks really nice. Like I have no qualms with it at all. Everything seems of really good quality. The welds are nice on the piping. It comes with this exhaust hanger and bracket, some extra springs, some extra spring mounts, what looks like the muffler mount, and then a Ransoto sticker. But there aren't any installation instructions, which is part of the reason why I'm making this video. But honestly, I think all we're gonna need is a 12mm socket with a ratcheting wrench or a 12mm wrench. Step one is gonna be loosening these 12mm nuts. You can either use that socket or I'm gonna get them started with the wrench here. Just because it's a tight fit with this aftermarket exhaust. Once we've got those loose just like so, we should be ready to rock. Once you've got the front two bolts removed, we're heading to the rear here, and in the back you're just going to undo with a socket, 12mm socket with a long extension, this lower back bolt, and the exhaust is actually already coming loose. and just like that, it's off. So it's really that simple, just the 2 front bolts at the flange and the rear mount right here. And I'm guessing there was supposed to be, since this was pretty loose, another mount off this arm in the back here. I'm guessing this is where we're gonna tap in the muffler mount for the Ransoto muffler. But it's super straightforward, that's dropped, so let's go ahead and get this new one on. And with your exhaust removed, take the opportunity to clean down the underside of the engine here since it's a wide open space. And then we'll go ahead and insert the Ransoto exhaust with the flange, and we'll just reuse the stock bolts. Now I just tightened with the socket these 2 nuts enough so I can swing the exhaust around because I want to wait until we've got the final fitment before tightening down all bolts, but that should be good, just hand tight, and we'll move on to the muffler section. In the rear, we're going to take the muffler and just slip it on. It's a slip fit here in the back, and then we've got these little springs. So I've just got a pliers here, and I'm going to take the spring, connect it here, and then we'll pull forward. And apparently launch the spring across the garage. I'm gonna try that in a different way. So after looking up some Amazon reviews, apparently I'm not the only one that's struggling to get these springs in. They're just a little too short. So you can either go and get longer ones, or I'm gonna use a screwdriver to kind of pivot that down, and I'm just gonna hold on to it just in case, and kind of turn the screwdriver, and there she's locked in. So just be careful because these do have a lot of pressure behind them, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of that thing when it springs out. And I'm going to attempt to use the same method on this lower spring mount here. And we're good. But like I said, be careful. The last step is going to be mounting the bracket to hold it on right here. And there's this protective film on this bracket, so just peel that off, and you'll also get this black rubber. This goes on the inside to protect against scratching the muffler. So just carefully kind of clip this in, spend a minute, and then we'll get this attached. Now we're going to loosen the bolt here. Just got a 12mm wrench on one side holding it in, and we'll just unscrew this bolt. And with that bolt removed, we can now slide over our exhaust mount, and we'll actually twist the muffler up. And once you've got it in the right spot, once you've got the bolt and nut started, we're just going to tighten this down. And don't forget to head back up front and torque down the 2 bolts off the block. And believe it or not, we're actually not even going to use this bracket. There was no use for this at all. And the last step would be to put your Ransoto sticker on the muffler, but I'm going to choose to leave this off. I just prefer the clean look without it. So let's go ahead, and we've got one last step, which is to wipe down the piping with some isopropyl alcohol before we start it. If you don't do this and there's any fingerprints or grease on the exhaust, it's going to burn into the exhaust, and you'll see some discoloration, and wherever those fingerprints and grease marks are will show up permanently. Now before I fire this up for the first time, I do want to show you there's a removable baffle in the rear. So we can just take an Allen wrench, there's just a set screw holding it in, and I'm going to go ahead and undo the bolt. It'll drop just out the bottom, and I'm going to use just a pliers with some microfiber to try and pull this out. Like so. And this is a sound baffle, so it's gonna restrict some sound, and it's actually a 2-piece baffle. Some people don't understand. There's another set screw in here, and we can remove this complete blockage out of the baffle, so then at least there's something there, but instead of fully restricting flow through this cap, it'll be able to travel straight through the perforations and come out. So I'll go ahead and start it as if you didn't touch it, so as if it came from the factory just like so. But then after that, I am gonna play around with a few sounds by removing this, then reinserting it, and then completely removing the baffle and letting it just go open muffler. And here goes the first startup just as it comes out of the box. Wow, that's a lot quieter. Now there's no baffle cap in. Now we're getting some nice pops without that cap in. And here's with the baffle completely removed. That's loud. It's much deeper though. And I think that's going to wrap up this video. I'm also going to be installing these cheap Amazon levers. I'm not sure if I'm going to include that at the end or just do a separate video on it. We'll see. But if this is it, then thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please smash the thumbs up button and subscribe because I got a lot more content coming soon. But until next time, peace.